Hi, welcome to Financial Planning Explained. I'm your host, Mike Menninger, certified financial planner, owner and founder of Menninger and Associates Financial Planning. On my show, I like to discuss the 6 different areas of financial planning, and what I try to do is provide an educational and hopefully entertaining experience for the viewers as we discuss the various areas of financial planning. Generally, I try to bring in corporate executive, business owners, and industry-wide experts, and it just so happens that I've got 2 of the above with my guests here today, and one of my only second-time guests, Dave Cary. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And I got Doug Braun here also.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. These guys are newly formed, new business, although they've been in the business for a while. So they're co-owners of Prime Real Estate. What is it? Prime Real Estate Team. That's it. Prime Real Estate Team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've worked with Dave for a while now. I've referred to him to several clients. Here we are talking about a very interesting topic today. Normally, we're taping this a week before we're actually airing it, and in light of the real estate market has been kind of a little on the crazy side lately, I figured it's important to share that today is Friday, July 8th, 2022, because we air these shows on multiple media outlets. We've got iTunes, podcasts, YouTube, my website. And if one were to pick this up and look at it 3 months, 6 months, or 1 month down the pike, they're like, oh my goodness, that's old news.
Right.
But what's also cool sometimes is it's really cool to look back at where were we at this time.
Sure.
And we're certainly at a wild time right now. And we're going to talk about it. Okay?
Absolutely.
It's fun to talk about. But before we get into that, tell me a little bit about yourselves and the new firm that you just created.
Sure. Awesome. I'll start.
You want to start, David?
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Happy to be back. And last time we talked, I was with another company. And my partner, Doug, and I had been working for a good 18 months now to get our own brokerage up and running.
Sure.
A lot of time and effort, but as of about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, we officially are up and running. And we decided that after interviewing with several different brokerages and different people and different financial experts, industry experts, that no one had it perfect. Everyone, I like this about this company, I like that about that company. And so we kind of cherry picked all the things that I felt was the most important. That is a company that suits everybody. Experts, beginners, training, different like personal training, hands-on training, things like that. So we felt as though, not that we could do it better, but we felt that there was a better solution out there to encompass everybody. And so far it's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
We already have 20 people on our team, including Doug and myself.
Wow.
And we hit the ground running. Day one, we came out firing with getting a lot of deals under contract, and it's been a ton of fun trying to figure out everything, and it's a different avenue. So we've been training, mentoring, recruiting for about almost 7 years now, but now it's basically just Doug and I.
Right.
Well, cool. So your industry is kind of similar to ours in that I have to report to a broker-dealer, and you guys sort of have to report to, and I'm thinking you've got the Century 21s, the
Keller Williams.
All that. Are you now your own broker, or are you answering? Oh, you
Yes,
are your
I
own.
am the broker of record for Prime Real Estate Team.
That's terrific, because then what it enables you to do within the rules, it allows you to do how you want to do it.
Correct.
Which I think is absolutely fantastic. My career has gone to the point where I'm almost there. I can't really get there because I always have to answer to someone who provides oversight, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because they basically provide protection between me and the public, which is fine.
Sure.
But having your own business is just phenomenal. It enables you to put your own style on how you do things, and you are the boss now as opposed to somebody else. So congratulations to both of you for doing that.
Yes.
That's a great leap, and as long as the 2 of you as business partners can stay that way, I applaud both of you for doing it. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been really fun to build it in our own image.
Okay.
And then, with our own values and how we want, we feel a real estate company really should run.
Right. So you have 20 people working for you. How many of them are licensed realtors?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
We actually have no W-2 employees at this time.
Correct.
All 1099 independent contractors.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. But I got to imagine at some point you're going to need administrative staff.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
It's on the to-do list.
You're right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. We almost felt like we need to learn all facets of the business
Yes.
before we start handing it over to someone else.
Well, this is a very interesting time. So let's talk about today's time. So, where are we right now? So people think that I've got it tough. All right. Well, I don't personally think I have it that tough. We're financial planners, but we're obviously impacted by how the stock and bond markets do because people are looking at us, hey, you know what, you're managing our money and it's going down. But what has happened this year is we started the year, mortgage rates were to the tune of 2.75%, and they actually reached a peak probably mid to late June of almost 6%.
Almost.
It broke 6, or did it break 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, for like a day or two.
Yeah, it broke 6 and now has been coming back. Now, for what it's worth, to tie it all in, is the reason why interest rates are going up so high, and it trickles its way down to you guys, but it starts off with the 800-pound gorilla in the room that I talk about all the time is inflation.
Right.
Okay, when inflation's real high, then the federal government needs to combat inflation, and to combat inflation, what they do is they raise interest rates. When they raise interest rates, it's not the same thing as raising mortgage rates. They're raising the rates with which they lend to banks and stuff like that. But then that subsequently trickles down, and the going interest rate, which is the 10-year Treasury, goes up with it. And then subsequently, mortgage rates are predicated on what is the 10-year Treasury. Then, when mortgage rates are too high, it then becomes unaffordable for a homeowner to buy a house. I say unaffordable, less affordable.
Yes.
So, my goodness, I have a few clients, one very near and dear to me who just sold her house, not settled's next week, just caught the peak of the market. And, I look at the craze and I feel really bad for the young people, the in their 20s, their first house. They can't afford it.
Right.
And it's sad, but it got to the point, and this will be cool to look at this 6 months or a year from now, but you list a house and you got 30, 40 people looking at it on the weekend, and you've got 15 offers on Sunday night, and 10 of them are over asking price.
Yeah.
Probably all
It's
15.
crazy. Or all 15. And without inspections, as is, like I've, in my lifetime, never seen anything like
like it.
this. And
No.
so you guys, just obviously being in the industry, has there ever been anything like this?
No.
Unprecedented.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, not even before your time, before you were born. I mean,
No.
it's never been like this. Okay,
Not in my lifetime.
It's beyond crazy at the moment.
but it's settling down a little bit.
Yes.
In
And-
pockets.
Right.
That's what we decided. That when you look at it, so every day I still sell a lot of real estate. So I'm obviously the co-owner of the company, but I'm also out there showing houses, listing houses every
Right.
single day. One, because I need to, and two, because it helps me stay engaged with the market. And I can't explain why and what's happening, because the rates, like you said, have pulled back a little bit, but I lost an offer yesterday. There was 19 offers in. I lost an offer last week, 60,000
buyer.
over.
As
a buyer.
Yep. Last week, 60,000 over. And then I get buyers on a contract for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on a contract sometimes. Some houses sit, some houses are still getting 30 offers. And I really can't figure out exactly what the magic thing that is going on with certain properties still. But all I'm saying is there's like a slight shift, a deceleration, if you will, for most places, but not all.
Right.
So it's so hard. We're so in flux right now. The market is so volatile and things are changing so rapidly that it's really hard to put say blanketly that the market's slowing down or it's not. I do think it is. I think the rising increase in interest rates has definitely scared off, like you mentioned, the younger generation, the first-time home buyers, the people who are unable to afford it, because first home values went up. Now rates are going up.
Right.
So now the
It's
rates,
a double whammy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
Last time we spoke, we talked about how the increase in property values is justified by the low rates. Now
That was
you
a
have
year
the
and a
higher
half
rates.
ago,
It was a
Dave.
year and a half ago.
It's a totally
Yeah.
different environment than it was a year and a half ago.
We still have increasing property values, but with higher rates. So now there's no justification for those massive prices. So as we said, the people who don't have a large down payment are able to cover up any shortfall on appraisal, if you want to get into that. They're kind of getting beat out. So I'm noticing of course, the cash buyers, 20% down buyers are always winning like they will in every market.
Of course.
essentially. But it's the younger generation that
hard
just
for
out of
them.
college is kind of getting priced out. It's sad.
Do you think the government, I know they have FHA loans that you can get up to 3.5%, you only have to put 3.5% down. Do you think the government might step in and kind of provide assistance for first-time home buyers where, if they look to buy a house for 300 grand and all of a sudden, it goes for 350 but still appraises for 300, they can't get in because they have to
No,
come up
right.
with the 50,000 that it's over
Yeah.
the appraisal, then
Yeah.
the 3.5 or 20 or 10% that they're going to put down. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great question. I guess
It's-
what you'd have to do. I can take this one.
Yeah, it's very difficult right now for FHA buyers to get into the house, and I think at some point the government will probably have to do something to try and
help
level
them
to level the playing field a little bit.
That's because they're appraising less than the
Yeah.
sale value.
Yeah, because
And-
the appraisals are always several months, 6 months to a year behind actual values because it's always
Yeah,
past
it's reactionary.
closed sales.
Yeah, it's reactionary.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, but some of those sales there haven't been a lot. Yeah, I just hear what's going on, and I actually feel bad for the people because the example that I use when I'm talking to clients, whether they're buying or selling or whatever, is you have 10 people who put an offer in a house. 9 of them are walking away, shut out.
Yep.
And if those same 9 people go look at the next house, 8 of them are walking away, shut out. And you go down the list, people are getting shut out
Yes.
several times,
Yes.
which is why they're saying, gosh darn it, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm willing to pay a stupid amount for the house.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's
And-
people are being exhausted by losing offers and so forth, and
Right.
they're just willing, like you said, to do things that in a normal market they wouldn't be willing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
buying a
frustration
house
level.
without an inspection.
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
There's like a natural progression that I see where everyone walks in and I tell people, I never will advocate anyone to waive an inspection, but it is my job to tell people that, if you are comfortable to do this, this is your decision. In my professional opinion, do not do this, but if you want to be more competitive, this is your decision. So another thing actually that we've been doing a lot recently is we're not home inspectors,
Right.
but I've been on dozens and dozens of home inspections in my life, so therefore I do know a bit about construction homes.
Right.
So I'll go through with a fine-tooth comb during a showing to try and spot any major issues. Now the house is built in 1857.
Yeah,
you're
or,
doing a
Right,
septic
exactly.
system, you're doing a home
Right.
inspection.
Right,
House
right,
is
right.
3 years old, in good shape. I can tell somebody confidently that, listen, if this is something that you're comfortable with, you can waive inspections. But what happens is when I have that speech with people, most people look at me like I have 3 heads. Like,
Right.
are you insane? Like you just said, are you insane?
Right.
And then you lose 3, 4, 5 houses, and then they start to say, I guess this is what you have to do to compete in this market.
I know.
Right.
And
And it's there's a fine line between adequately representing your clients and getting your clients into a property. And right
Right.
now that
Well-
fine line is almost non-existent.
Right.
I got to imagine that you have to be awfully careful because there's liabilities, there's
Sure.
professional liability.
One of the things that we're doing is we're going to incorporate a waiver of responsibility, letting people know, like, hey, we do not recommend that you waive inspections.
Right.
For the following reasons, for protection for ourselves, and again, we tell them openly, like, this could go very sideways for you. So
Sideways would be good.
Yeah.
South is bad.
Yes. Right.
East west is okay.
Right. So please understand that waiving an inspection is not.
It's risky.
Yes.
It's absolutely. There's no question. It's
Very
risky.
risky.
Yes.
We're up against break already. All right, if you can believe that. So I could talk about this for hours. I want to be able to make sure that we talk about a bunch of topics, but we'll pick up where we left off. So please stay tuned. We will be back with you in just a few moments.
Have you saved enough for retirement? Are you financially prepared for an emergency or unexpected event? Have you thought about your financial future?
Hi, I'm Mike Menninger, founder of Menninger & Associates Financial Planning. For over 20 years, we have been answering our clients' questions just like these as we develop unique and comprehensive financial plans tailored to meet their needs. When addressing your financial plan, we incorporate your entire financial picture, including taxes, estate planning, as well as investment planning and retirement planning. So call us today for a complimentary, no obligation consultation.
A unique approach to financial planning.
Welcome back to Financial Planning Explained. I'm your host, Mike Menninger, certified financial planner, and I got the co-owners here of Prime Real Estate Team. Why I do that, I have no idea. It's really bad of me. But we're talking about the crazy housing market right now, the residential housing market, and how people have been getting shut out constantly. People are, buying houses without having the inspection and the risk that they're taking. But one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm not sure, this is the chicken and the egg thing. So now, all of a sudden, rentals, whether it be apartments, people renting houses, parts of their houses, they're getting really expensive.
Yes.
So which came first? Is it the rentals went up and people said, man, I'm tired of this renting thing, I want to buy? Or are the rental companies or apartment complexes are saying, hey, look at this, we can really shaft the people because we can.
Right.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
It's cyclical. Like one is affecting the other one is now affecting the other, like in the same way.
Yeah.
People are getting tired of the housing market and losing, so they're going, okay, I'm going to rent. And then the rental price goes up, and then they're like, oh, I need to now. It's cheaper to buy. You know what I mean? But then some people can't and afford to buy a home or don't have the opportunity to buy a home. So now they're in that crazy rental market, and it's just constantly. It's almost as crazy, if not crazier, than the sales.
Well, so given the person who wants to move from one house to another, they have the advantage of that the house that they're selling is also going to get the stupid, ridiculous price and terms.
Yep.
But so going down in value actually helps those
Yes.
folks. But what have you found in when I say rental market, the investors? The investors buying properties, because part of the rental cost are very simply, hey, if I'm paying $300,000 for a house, whatever the numbers are, I got to do 5% per year. If the value of the house goes from 300 to 400, well then 5% goes from 15,000 a year to 20,000 a year in rent. Have you found a change in investors buying properties? Are they backed off, or are they increasing more?
I got a couple things to say about that. One thing that I did notice is that exactly what you said about when you're selling a house and buying a house, it's not a huge deal because you're selling your house for a premium, you're buying a house for a premium.
Premium, that's a good word, as opposed to ridiculously stupid high. That's the more politically correct, which
Correct.
I'm not politically correct.
So what I noticed is happening is that when you're just on the seller side and you don't have to buy, you're just raking it in, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
So what's happening is a lot of these investors are unloading their rental properties because they're cashing in on their investment. So now all these people that used to be tenants are getting kicked out. Owner
which is
occupants.
creating more.
And also kind of at a short notice, like be out in a month or two, and now they're, frantically trying to find a new place to live and
Which
willing
is
to
creating
pay.
a greater demand, willing to
Correct.
pay
So-
more, just like
Correct.
on, oh my goodness.
I would say 3 to 5 times a week I get a call from someone in a complete panic saying, I'm being kicked out of my apartment and I have nowhere to go. Can you find me a place to live? So
Wow.
I'm a landlord. I have rental properties, and I would say if I had to make up a number, all the rents after losing a tenant and finding a new tenant have gone up 25% in the last 2 years.
Wow.
Something insane like that.
Yeah.
And if I put a place up, this is not exaggeration, I've gotten 400 to 600 to 700 phone calls from people who want it. So there might be 50, 60, 70 applications for one rental place.
So the rental market is just a stupid, crazy,
It's
wacky.
actually crazier.
Right.
It's
We
actually
are
crazier.
in the midst
Really?
of a housing crisis. We don't have enough homes or living spaces for our population right now.
Supply and demand.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yeah, so stealing business away from you guys, I'm a financial planner. I'm neutral. All right. So I had a client asking me, she sold a house in this market, and she's asking me, when should I buy? I'm like, well, you are in the power position.
Correct.
You got potloads of cash as a result of the sale of your house at a stupid, ridiculously high
Premium.
But I said, you're in a power position in that when, it's good if interest rates are high. It's good if the demand slows down. It's good if all these happen because you're the one who has cash, is not in a position of buying.
Right.
I would rather see you pay the stupid, crazy high rent for a year, year and a half,
Sure.
because your cost of the additional rent, the premium, I'll learn if I hang with you guys long enough to be a little more politically correct. That the amount of premium that they pay on the rental is a whole lot less than the values going down. Now,
Sure.
do you think that, I know I have my opinions, how much, let's say 2 years, how much has the median house gone up in 2 years?
I think I just read it was 10% year over year from May last year to May this year, and then it was,
Only 10?
I think it was 10 from year over year, because it went up bigger. I think it went up higher from 20 to 21 than 21 to 22.
Really?
So over the last 2 years, I mean,
I mean,
20+%.
I just know the
25%.
one
Yeah.
particular house that I'm thinking about went up almost 35% in 2 years.
Also depends where you are.
Right.
The suburbs are seeing a bigger increase than the cities.
Which to a great extent was a direct result of the pandemic.
correct.
And as well as probably shore properties. So
The beach always had to get hit the hardest.
Well, I mean, fact of the matter is that in the cities during the pandemic, it was problematic because people wanted out.
Yeah.
Okay, work from home. Hey, if I could work from home, I'm not a city guy. Okay, if I could work from home with a backyard and a fence and the dog and the kids, that's much greater. If I
Sure.
could work from my beach house, that's a whole lot greater than working from my high-rise apartment in the city.
Sure.
So that created a suburban push.
Yes, definitely.
Which, once again, you talk about cyclical. Here now, people moving out of the cities are creating the demand, but now inner city demand, or shall I say, is there a much greater availability in the cities, or no? I mean, you're saying it's.
I mean, I don't think it's as the demand is as high as is like the suburbs, but again, like I said, we just have a shortage of places for people to live. So people will find a place, and then they'll go, okay, yeah, this is a place for me to live. Okay,
All
I'll
right.
live here.
So then that raises the next question, because sometimes nothing makes sense. Housing starts and building permits took I think an 11% drop month over month from April to May. Yes, April to May. So if there's not enough properties, don't you think the builders say, woohoo, let's take advantage of this and build more properties? Or are they concerned that by the time they get done building it, the demand is down?
Yeah, that's
It could
possible. I know one thing is just the cost of material. So building
Right.
in general has been astronomical. I know
That's true, but that's come down too.
Sure. I know a
Yeah.
lot of builders took a huge bath from
Oh.
last year. They locked in, and now they have these building
Right.
like escalations to allow for increase in material
Right.
prices. But so that's definitely part of it. But yeah, I mean, you nailed it. The only real way to manufacture inventory is literally manufacture inventory.
Right.
But that's a good point. I'd actually never even thought of it that way, that because we're in such a volatile market, you could start building something today in the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 months it's going to take to build a place with supply chain issues. Who knows?
You're
Are rates
right.
going to be 8%? Are they going to be able to sell for what they thought they were? Are prices going to come down?
Right. In other
It's
words,
a-
you have
it's a-
the exact opposite
Yeah.
could happen, where all of a sudden your building costs go up and the value goes down.
Yeah.
The builders can. And by the way, I'll have you know, I don't have a whole lot of love, to the builders, because builders really hurt a lot of people in the recession. And they basically just passed a lot of their losses and put a lot of people out of business. So it left, I know people very close to me that
Gotcha.
got
Sure.
hurt by the builders 15 years ago. So when we were last on the show, a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, I had a prediction that absolutely failed miserably, okay? I was expecting that commercial real estate would really begin to fall on its face as a direct result of the pandemic. The direct result of the pandemic, not the pandemic itself, but again, a trickle-down effect, was that companies realized, holy smokes, you know what? People can work from home, and many of them are just as productive. And since I ran from the financial side, the P&L of a services organization.
Sure.
Once you got past labor, rent was your biggest thing. So if I could take a 100,000 square foot space, reduce it to 50,000, look at all the money I'm saving. So what have you seen over the last year and a half in the commercial real estate market, and where's it going?
Tell your story about the condos.
Oh, okay.
I like
So near where I live, there is a retail shopping center. And when it was first built, all the retail stores were on the bottom and then the head office is on the top.
Right.
That has actually been bought by a developer, and they are taking all of the offices on the top and they're converting them to residential because they're trying to
Ooh,
meet.
interesting idea.
Right, because they're
Okay.
trying to meet this need for
Right.
the residential because, people need places
For
to live.
sale or apartments for
Like
rent?
condos to buy.
Okay, interesting. Okay. I could say, hey, you know what? That's what's great about being in a capitalistic society.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is that we'll figure out a way to make a buck.
Right, exactly.
And,
Right.
right, wrong, or indifferent, greed, not greed, call it what you
Right.
want.
Sure.
If there's a way to make a buck,
Right. People-
they're going to do it.
And you're
Right.
satisfying a need. If there's a decreased demand for commercial and increased demand for residential, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. People are pivoting.
Yeah, well, and you know what? That's also good, and that's what capitalism does. Is it enables the pivoting. If you can believe it already, we're done. We're out of time. This has been great. You know what? If we do this again when it's crazy, I think we should maybe make a double episode out of it. But I appreciate you guys. I certainly wish you the best with your
Thank you.
business.
Appreciate it.
I know
Thank
both
you.
of you have been really successful, great realtors. You just decided to go out on your own, so to speak, and do it yourself. And I will tell you, from my experience in my world, okay, the people that hang their own shingle are usually the better people, because if you stink at what you do, there's no way in the world you're capable of hanging your own shingle. So just by you doing that tells me a lot about the success and your ability to do it, because you're tired of donating all this money to other people who, so anyway, that was my plug for you guys, because I
you.
know, first time I met you, but I know, Dave, I've known you for a while, and you're a great realtor. You guys are got to both be good to be in the position you're at. So what I'd like you to do, take a moment, look in the camera, and just say how they can contact. Well, okay, guess what? It's up on the screen.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
go ahead, Dave.
Just like the slide says, primereteam.com, which is primerealestateteam.com, is our website. If you need to contact us directly, there's info@primereteam.com. And of course, our broker phone number is at the bottom there, 215-693-6155. Call, email, any way you want to get a hold of us is fine. We're always available.
Well, this is good. So now we caught you, and I love having different professions in, and especially in crazy times. And I'm not sure if we designed it that way. We may have. Okay, it was. I think when we talked about having you on the show was before the peak.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, I think we reached and surpassed the peak, but I don't know.
Right.
You never know where the peak or the bottom is until you're able to look
Yeah.
in the
Right,
rearview
right,
mirror.
for
We
sure.
know that.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Exactly, because everybody asks me, we hit the bottom or we hit the peak. Yeah, I'll let you know in a year. Give
Yeah.
me next year's newspaper. I'll tell you exactly when the peak or the bottom is. But gentlemen, I thank you very much for being on
you.
the show. Love to have you back again at a time when things are different. We were focused on corporate real estate a year and a half ago. Now we're focused on residential real estate. And I know you guys do both of them. Do you also guide clients for rentals? I
Yes.
mean, okay, so I may have people for you on that one too. I don't think of rental, but I have actually a couple of my staff are really looking for rentals right now. And I'm not a big fan of apartment complexes. That's just me personally, because I've rented from people who rent it themselves.
Sure.
I just think it's much more personable.
It is.
As opposed to an apartment complex.
Definitely.
I'm a big fan of townhouses. I think it's a great way for the younger generation to be able to get a good value for what they're paying for. But
Sure.
anyway, guys, thanks for being on the
Thank you.
show. Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Doug. This was great. So I hope everybody here got something out of today's episode. I'll be very curious to see, again, how the real estate market does. But I'm happy for these guys for formulating their own broker, and confident that they're going to do very well. So anyway, again, it's all designed about a learning experience, which is why I call it Financial Planning Explained. So signing off, thank you very much for joining. I'm Mike Menninger, your host of Financial Planning Explained. And I thank you again for joining, and I look forward to you joining again next week. Thank you.